Malta sat at the heart of the Mediterranean, a fortress island everyone wanted. For centuries, this strategic rock was the prize, a key that could lock or unlock the sea. Attackers came from all corners, from the mighty fleets of the Ottoman Empire to the swift and deadly North African corsairs. Their goal was simple: control the vital trade routes and sea lanes that crisscross these waters, and to do that, they needed to take Malta. The ultimate test came in 1565 with the Great Siege. This was no mere raid. It was a massive, full-scale invasion by the Ottoman Empire. A determined effort to finally break the Knights of St. John and seize the island once and for all. The fate of the Mediterranean hung in the balance, but Malta was ready. It was a fortress built to defy empires. Its defenses were a masterclass in 16th-century military engineering. Layered bastions, scientifically angled walls designed to deflect cannon fire, and strategically sited batteries made a direct assault a bloody, near-suicidal affair. Attackers quickly learned that getting close was a death sentence. Well-placed cannons covered every approach. Their powerful gunnery denied safe anchorage to enemy fleets and absolutely devastated any infantry columns foolish enough to attempt a massed assault. The defenders weren't just relying on their stone walls either. The Knights of St. John fielded disciplined, professional military detachments. They had drilled cavalry ready to launch thundering countercharges and highly trained infantry capable of responding with speed and precision, even under the most intense pressure of a siege. But the Knights weren't alone. A successful defense relied on the entire island. They expertly integrated the local Maltese militia into their defensive plans, boosting their numbers and leveraging local knowledge. Just as important were logistics. Well-stocked magazines filled with powder kegs and caches of food and supplies were meticulously maintained. Because they knew that morale and the ability to keep fighting were just as crucial as any wall or cannon. Their tactics were just as sophisticated as their fortifications. They emphasized defense in depth, creating a layered system where if one position fell, another was waiting. They designed interlocking fields of fire, ensuring that attackers would be funneled into carefully prepared kill zones, raked with fire from multiple directions with no safe place to hide. The defenders didn't just wait behind their walls either, they were aggressive. Daring pre-dawn sallies would erupt from the fortress gates, hitting the enemy where they least expected it. These raids disrupted the construction of siege works, burned vital enemy supplies, and most importantly, bought the defenders precious time to repair their own damaged walls. Holding it all together was strong, centralized leadership. Commanders like the Grand Master, Jang Parasot de Villette, were the heart and soul of the defense. They made the tough calls, coordinated the complex defensive strategy, and through their own iron will, kept morale from breaking, even in the darkest hours. The defenders were also smart about their enemy's weaknesses. An invading army is vulnerable. The Ottomans suffered from dangerously stretched supply lines, the constant threat of disease sweeping through their crowded camps, and siege works that were perpetually exposed to cannon fire. The defenders exploited every single one of these problems relentlessly. Ultimately, no fortress can hold out forever without help. Resupply and the hope of Allied relief were absolutely decisive. Small, daring ships would run the blockade under the cover of darkness, bringing in just enough men and supplies to keep Malta in the fight. The promise of a larger relief fleet on the horizon was a powerful motivator for the exhausted defenders. Their incredible engineering prowess and a culture of rapid repair meant that even devastating damage from enemy cannons was treated as a temporary, survivable setback. Resilient garrisons would work through the night, patching breaches and getting guns back into action. The Knights also showed a remarkable ability for tactical adaptation on the battlefield. They learned to seamlessly combine their forces, using handgunners to weaken enemy formations, ranks of pikemen to halt their charges, and cavalry to smash into their flanks. This combined arms approach proved incredibly effective at blunting the force of massed enemy assaults. Their small but capable naval force was also key. Constant patrols and coastal denial missions kept the enemy fleet off balance, preventing them from safely supporting their troops on land or attempting new landings elsewhere on the island. The sheer grit required to maintain a defense under constant bombardment is hard to overstate.
It meant meticulously managing dwindling gunpowder stocks, rationing provisions to the last biscuit,
and providing the best possible medical care for the wounded in makeshift surgical stations. Keeping men fed, armed, and cared for under such dire conditions is what kept them effective long after they should have been broken. In the end, it was a combination of everything. The attackers, worn down by disease, casualties, and their own logistical failures, finally faltered. When the long-awaited relief fleet arrived, the siege was broken. The knights held. Malta had survived. It was a victory forged from superior fortification, brilliant logistics, and unbreakable leadership. Over the centuries, the island's fortifications continued to evolve, facing new threats with new designs.
but the core lessons from that epic struggle, the timeless importance of engineering, supply, and morale, have never been forgotten.
They are written into the very stones of Malta. So, what part of this incredible story do you want to see us unpack next? A tactical deep dive on the day-to-day fighting of the Great Siege, or a closer look at the naval operations that controlled the seas? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching. All our credits and archive sources are in the description below, and we'd love to answer any questions you have. If you enjoyed this, please consider liking and subscribing for more.